Good evening, Fredonia. You're listening to the Local Lowdown on WCVF 88.9 The Voice and WDBL 89.5 The Inferno. I'm Mel, your co-host and promotion. Wait, no. Oh no, how do I mess up?
You forgot producer?
No, it's okay. Just keep this in. Keep this in.
Okay.
I'm your co-host, Mel, executive producer, and your promotions lead.
Hi, I'm Jordan, and I'm the A&R lead and co-host.
And I'm Alex, technical director, playing around with new equipment today. We're going to see how it
How do we
goes.
The
look?
lighting is different.
Yes.
We have professional lighting on ourselves.
I was like, we need to get new lights in there. And now we have new lights. So
Tonight's show is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems, in a group effort to promote and showcase the local music scene here in Fredonia, but also Western New York at large. Welcome to the Local Lowdown.
On our first episode here, we have our guest for the week, Wylie something. Hi, welcome.
What's up, guys?
Well, we kind of already know your name, but why don't you start off by introducing yourself? Also introduce, I guess, you're probably not the only person doing your project, so include anyone else in live performances who you would want to include as well.
Sure. My name is Jacob Smolinski, also known as Wylie something / Wylie something and Affliction / Wylie something and Affliction and Jesse and the Spirit.
that is a lot of asterisks.
No. There's just we have a really fun lineup for when we actually go out and play live and such. But Wylie something is the solo project for me.
Right.
And then when there's different people involved,
Of course.
gotta have the different names, especially Affliction. Affliction are my roommates,
Gotcha.
and they're the best.
Understood. Well, I mean, now that we're on the topic, why don't you start off by explaining at least how did this project start? Because it started from you.
Yeah.
Where is it rooted from?
So I grew up playing in bands, and really, I was starting to fall into like ridiculous rhythms and cycles with just writing the same song over and over and over again. And so I ended up going to Maine and ended up doing a song a day project and worked on that for around like a week and just came away with like 7 or 8 songs. And I was just like, dang, this was refreshing.
Right.
And so I ended up kind of deciding to just go by the persona Wylie something. And the reason it's Wylie something is Wylie is my middle name. And pretty much I was just like, what could follow Wylie? And I was just like, how about just Wylie something? So anyways, that's pretty much the way that Wylie something came together. It was just coming out of a song a day project. And from there, a local record label, Steak and Cake Records, Brandon Shilia, got to shout out the man, the myth, the legend. Took notice, and we ended up covering each other's songs, and then we started recording together, and it just kind of sprouted into that.
I want to talk a little bit about your latest project, Scatter the Pieces, and the experience that you had making it. In November of 2021, you headed out to your family's cabin, holed up there for a little bit, and experimented with your sound. Can you relive that experience with us a little bit?
All right, so it was November 2021. There was snow on the ground, maybe a bit of rain. And so my grandparents, they built a cabin back in 1960, and it's called Watera Swo cabin. And anyways, we've had this in the family for a super long time, and it's just a great place to go make music.
Yeah.
And I'd been grinding for a bit at work, and so I was just like, dang, I need to get out there and just give myself 3 or 4 days to just experiment and see what ended up happening.
Yeah.
And so pretty much all I did was bring a nylon string guitar, a drum set that was only 3 pieces. So just snare, ride, kick.
Yeah.
And then just a bass and my really rinky-dink recording setup that I have, and really just spent every single day from sunup to sundown recording. And I had a couple of like snippets of ideas that I wanted to like explore a bit, but for the most part, all of those songs were written in those 3 days. So it was just a really, really fun exercise. And it was also kind of intense, just putting that much time into a project.
Right, yeah.
All in one sitting.
Yeah.
Especially having no expectations for it. And so when Zazzin Tapes decided to be like, hey, let's put this out on cassette, I was just like, whoa. I did not expect that for just something that was just 3 days of work. But there's a lot more than 3 days of work that goes into being able to do something like that. So
I mean, would you call like your experience like writing music in this cabin that obviously meant a lot to you, like a retreat of some sort? Because I mean, going through at least how you described it, it was almost like ethereal. It was like, so this like almost a book of like emotions and stuff. And I was like, this obviously looks like it meant a lot. So I don't know. I mean, what do you call it a retreat? Did you just come out with the experience of obviously writing music, or as something else came out of that, I guess, on a personal level?
I definitely feel like it was a spiritual, like ethereal
So
sort
it sounded
of.
like,
Yeah, because like my grandpa, who was like the head honcho and like building the cabin, he's not with us anymore. And so getting to spend like, that was the first time like I really got to spend time since moving back from Philly out there. And just feeding the wood stove all day, having talk radio playing in the background the entire time. And you can kind of hear it on some of the songs in the album.
At the end, particularly, right?
Yeah, there's some snippets of just random talk radio bits, and like you can hear like the sound of like the fire occasionally, like the pops and the crackles and stuff. And I think going into a project like that and then realizing that like on the first day, you don't necessarily break a lot of like emotional ground or anything.
Right.
But by the end of it, it's just like you're just kind of like picking and choosing what experiences you want to mine from, or if there's something fresh that you want to kind of go into.
Do you remember what the first song was?
Yeah. Let me think. Oh, that's tough. I think it might have been Floating Through Your Lives.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think, like the emotional crux of the album, that feeling. And like, especially as you get older, you start to feel less and less like a main character. and you realize that other people's lives aren't as dependent on you as you may think. And sometimes it just feels like you're just floating through someone's life. And you
that perfectly describes how I feel when I listen to that song. Like you just broke it down, because it really is that like kind of like empty, like regular feeling. Yeah. Like, but in the like, sometimes you need that. Like you can't be like that guy all the time, you know? Like
no, you can't.
It's
you gotta
crazy
let it happen.
because I actually like had the opposite effect when I was going through it, because I think I probably helped that I read through what you've described that, and I was like, no, I feel like opposite. I was like, if this is how you're describing it, I was like, I felt more of a main character than how you describe it, which is crazy.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because
you
I was
take it on the
like,
flip side.
That's true. Huh.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going
I mean,
back to
on other songs, I mean, I got more of that like cinematic type stuff, but on that one, not particularly.
Yeah, I think I was listening it on more of like your end of especially reading through your experience. And I was like, I was trying to listen to music while pretending to be you, if it makes sense. But just to kind of get myself in the zone. But that's how I interpreted that.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Like, I mean, it's like, you know, sometimes when it's lonely being the main character.
Yeah.
You know, it can be taken both different ways.
That's true. Huh.
So talking a little bit about some of the limitations you put on yourself. You just had a 3-piece drum set, your nylon string guitar, a couple other things. But what do you follow that method for your other releases as well, or is this unique to Scatter the Pieces?
Hell no.
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry for saying hell.
That is okay. That is your one allotment.
No, I'm a bit of like a sound nerd.
Yeah.
And so if there's like, I think my true like studio album that I did, which is Welcome.
Yeah.
There is so much.
There's a lot more.
So many different sounds, whether it's guitars, keyboards, synths, just all across the map. Usually, like when I work on stuff, it's a month's long process of just experimenting.
Even a month seems kind of short. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm no artist myself, but
I'm talking about like per song, maybe like a couple of songs. It just takes time.
Yeah.
But like something with like Scatter the Pieces and the Limitations.
Yeah.
That's just something that I really wanted to get back to. Because I had not had a period of time where I could just sit down and do nothing but music in a really long time. Because it's different. Like when I was in college, all I did was just make demos when I had free moments in class. But then now, you know, I've been working for a bunch of years. You work that 9 to 5 and you get home from work. You got to feed the dog. Then you got to go get groceries. You got to go do all those things. And then by the time that you finally get home, there's not much left in the tank. And you really have to prioritize.
Yeah.
And so, especially with the limitations for Scatter the Pieces, I just felt like, dang, if I'm going to be out in the cabin, I don't need to be obsessing over every little detail.
Yeah.
Like all the sounds that I want guitar-wise, all of those things should be done in software for any of those fun effects and stuff like that. And so I was just like, I'm just going to bring a condenser mic or all I did was bring 2 condenser mics to record the entire thing. And I just kept on swapping between drums, guitar, drums, guitar, drums, guitar. And
Wow. So some of the imperfections are just what make it special.
I have a question. Would you say that the music that you created in this cabin, like this retreat, obviously you had limited pieces of musical equipment on you, but now that you're describing obviously how you would make demos before, everything was very fast paced. Would you say that there's a difference between obviously going somewhere more quiet, this like place in where is it?
Humphrey, New York.
I didn't want to say it wrong. I was going to say something else. And somewhere more fast paced to where you were living, as you described. Like, would you say there's a correlation in, like, I guess the music that you're making, something obviously more fast paced, living in a fast paced city, than obviously the latter?
No, 100%. I think like Scatter the Pieces for the most part is a pretty mid tempo album.
Yeah,
it's pretty chilled out.
Yeah, and
mostly that just goes from, you know, just living the slow paced lifestyle, eating hot dogs on the off like a little panini press, and
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was sick. And then like when I'm back in the city and stuff, things tend to take a little bit longer, and I'm also like a little bit angrier in the city.
Yeah,
wait. What about Rust Belt Dream though? So you're hitting all the things on that song.
Yes, and so that was my ode to the fast-paced lifestyle in the city. Can't remember where I went. Yeah, you know.
Great energy on that song.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love in the music video. I just see like, you know, music can be like it can be very freeing. And I just see such liberty. I see such liberty in your dance moves.
Oh, thank you. No, my mom watched that video and was kind of disturbed by it.
Oh no!
She was like, "Are you sure? Like, you want to put that out?"
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little intimidating, but
right."
So there's nothing more freeing than dancing by a grain silo alone.
Yeah.
So I'm searching the web a little bit. Yeah. And I'll tell you what. This bearded guy with glasses and a beanie, he's got some dance moves going on.
Dance moves in all the videos.
What?
Oh, that's the Forgiveness music video.
Yeah, we're moving on now.
Oh, we got you're talking about a different music video?
Yeah, there's another one.
There's another one? This is the first music video that popped up when I was searching.
You can move to that one if you want. It's up to you.
I mean, you guys said crazy. This looks pretty crazy, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's my 3D. That's how I envision myself.
Really? Oh,
no,
I love.
No.
I was like, I love the shirt.
Yes, no, it's one of my good friend Molman, based out of Philly. One of the homies. He made a 3D rendered character of me.
Just for fun?
No, I woke up out of like a deep sleep and was just like, it would be so sick if I had a 3D version of me breakdancing in like a pinkish room with guitars everywhere. And then it's me then waking up out of the dream.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much what that music
Well, he
video
did a
is.
Did you have
job.
a dream about that, or is that unrelated? Like you just woke up and thought about it?
I woke up and thought about it
Okay.
and was just like, this
gotcha.
needs to actually be a reality. So I hit up my buddy Molman,
Mhm.
made that character. We went through a bunch of iterations. He's a G. Hire him for 3D work. He's amazing.
Maybe I want a video of me breakdancing.
It's
Maybe in a green room.
I like how you
Yeah.
hide the 3D version of yourself throughout the video.
yes,
Just
yeah.
kind of hanging out, chilling. Is this the
Yeah.
cabin that you were
This is
staying in?
and that is the cabin
That is
where
the cabin.
yeah.
I love the shot of you on the pier. That one right there,
Yes.
literally right there. It's like raining a little bit
Yeah.
too, right? Oh my god! And the way it fits with the song there, that's my favorite part.
And I gotta say,
yeah,
director of cinematography,
uh-huh.
my girlfriend Bailey, killed it on this one. And
Nice.
she's actually
Shout out to
she's
Bailey.
here. I don't know where she is exactly.
I believe she's in the lobby
Yeah,
at
she's
the
in the
moment.
lobby.
Gotcha. But
Does she want to sit in?
Huh?
Does she want to sit in?
She was sitting in earlier when we were setting up.
Oh, I got you.
I can grab her if y'all
yeah,
want
if
me
you want to grab her, yeah, yeah.
Please.
Absolutely.
She killed it in terms of just capturing all the stuff like all
Yes.
throughout the cabin and stuff.
It's so interesting because I watched a video earlier, and I think it's just, I mean, she killed it. There's different shots throughout the thing, and I was like, this cabin is so much to it.
Yeah.
There's so much to
Seriously.
it, right?
It's like
Because like it's
it's
obviously like the small
history.
things, but just I was like, there's so much to do, and like everything was captured so differently. So like
There is
abstract, but like
so much
you know, more.
kitsch in that cabin. Like there are so many trinkets,
I know.
so many different things.
right.
And yeah, so like it was just like one of those days where I was just like, "Hey Bailey, do you think we could go film a music video? Please, I need some help." So
I have
yeah.
returned from the lobby.
Oh
with
shoot!
someone.
Oh, hi Bailey.
Hi Bailey.
Hello.
We're just talking about how amazing you did on this music video and all the
you.
the shots that you got. We were just talking about like you've managed to like capture this the essence of like this cabin. We're talking about like how much tude it has.
Yeah, it has a lot of tubes. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But Jake just kind of gave me a camera, and I had been to the cabin once before.
Mhm.
Pardon me. And he just trusted me, said, film what you like to look at, film what you think makes this place special,
Right.
Mhm.
like what captures your attention.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I did.
Wow.
Yeah, it came across great. It's really wonderful to see like the environment that you were working into.
Yeah.
You know, that's like a whole nother aspect to listening to the album. That comes
Yeah.
across in the album cover too, of course. But
Mm.
Yeah.
to see it in a video it's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bailey.
Bailey did a
Yeah.
great job.
So last
Yeah.
week we spoke to Johnny and the Man Kids.
Okay.
And they talked a
Yeah.
little bit about like the difference between being able to listen to their own music or
Mhm.
just not being able to do that. And even in your bio, it says that you're trying your hardest to make things you can listen to.
Yeah.
So can you
Yeah.
expand upon this concept a little bit?
Yeah. My philosophy with just music in general, it's just making things that are pleasing to your own ears.
Yeah.
And regardless of how it's received, there's few things in life that give me
Mhm.
like such pleasure
Mhm.
as like when I go back and re-listen to a song or
Yeah.
a voice memo or something, and I'm like, dang, I was able to capture that feeling for myself.
Right.
And I think like years of recording and playing music live, but especially the recording aspect, if you're not making things that you can listen to,
Mm.
Then what are you
It's-
selling, really? You know?
Mm.
yeah, it's like I don't know, like there's like two sides to it. Like maybe your stuff is just too emotional for you to listen to, like it's
Mm.
diuretic, like like a slap in the face, like emotionally,
Yeah.
and it's just so uncomfortable that you're like, I can't ever go near that again.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But
me.
here, take it. Or you're just like writing 2-chord bops that can be sold to cereal companies.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, but like for me, I just keep on trying to like one up myself a little bit, and sometimes it's also just really fun to just make something that just sounds good to you in the moment. You know.
Something else that we touched upon, and I'm glad that you brought up what John and Andy had brought up last week on their episode, was like, obviously every artist has their journey of like how they started in music or the music that they made, like either by themselves or in a band, as to where they are now. And there's just been like a constant trend of just feeling free, feeling like not selfless, but careless, you know, just wanting either to make music for themselves. It's not about how it's going to be perceived, as you mentioned. It's more so just how it feels for them, how it looks for them, how they want it to be obviously perceived to other people because it's important, but just for themselves. And I think that's what makes listening to all these things that much more deep, especially like looking at The Cabin or looking at or hearing these special moments that obviously made a big impact, and like hearing the music, it just all translates very well. And so I don't know, it's like maybe not caring about how other people perceive your music is what makes it that much more listenable, because it's like I get it, you know, or like it's a lot more relatable in that sense.
That just reminds me of one of my really good friends, Austin. He's in a band called Wick Stevens out of Philadelphia. When Scatter the Pieces came out, he just called me and was just like, I just want you to know, this is the most Jake album you've ever done. And I was like, it took me a second.
Right.
And I was just like, that's cool. I kind of like that, because when you kind of like lower your guard and your inhibitions in terms of like whatever, you end up with a song like Reality that's like poking fun at the very concept of losing your mind out in a cabin, but at the same time very clearly putting a pop hook directly in somebody's face. So yeah. But even though like I like making things for me, I think it's really fun to play with audience expectations and kind of take and like even what I would expect to happen in a song. Sometimes it's just really nice for things to build in a different way than somebody would expect.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and that makes you want to listen to it again too, you know?
I mean, like, just going back to what we were saying earlier, like, Jordan and I had a complete opposite view of, like, listening to the music or listening to the song in particular. I was like, it's really interesting just to see how, obviously, like, these opposing views at certain songs, like, that we've mentioned to other people that we've had on this show. They're like, oh, I didn't see it that way. They're like, wow, I appreciate that. And it's like, thank you.
Oh, thank you guys.
This kind of goes into a question I had earlier that I wanted to say for this in particular. Your singing style. Okay. At least in the sets, the couple of songs that you played for us, there was, at least towards the end, you ended very, I guess your falsetto voice? Yeah. Like you ended a particular way, and I was like, obviously touching upon like the way that you came to find your sound and how you decide to sing things. And music, it's a personal choice? Is it something that you kind of grew into? How'd that come about?
So funny enough, I was a little choir boy back in the day. And pretty much like I learned how to like technically sing. But then when you listen to bands like The Kinks or like Pavement or just whoever, you get this sort of idea, like some of my favorite like vocalists, like for example, like Devo, like the vocalist from Devo is just so unhinged all the time. And I think I kind of have grown into kind of having a couple of different modes for my voice. And just I like using it like its own instrument a little bit because it's like sometimes I want that grit, and so I'll do something that's like a bit more like heavy metal scream, but then I can go a bit into like the bass register, or then go into my regular singing voice, and then there's the falsetto, which especially when I'm playing nylon string, I really love the way that like the frequencies of the nylon string correspond with like just the falsetto vocal, you know.
And it's really pretty. That's kind of why I brought it up. I was like, I don't know what it was. I was like, I'm hoping it's like either somewhat of a trend, but I really did appreciate how like most of the songs, I believe except the last one, ended with that, I guess,
falsetto.
Thank you. I'm forgetting that word.
Yeah, it's cool when a male voice or a lower voice in general uses falsetto, I guess, that much. Because are you a baritone or a bass?
So back when I was like singing in like choirs and stuff, I was usually like a tenor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I have like a baritone speaking voice. And like my range is like really weird. Like not to get like all technical about it or anything, but like I have like I think from like a low G to like a high A or something. It's just something weird. But like if I was to start doing vocal exercises from here, it would get weird.
I mean, I will say you have an excellent voice, like either for radio. Have you know like those movies where like they're like, and now into the something. You have like that
narrator
voice, like a narrator voice. Like that's what like when you first
like
started
Animal
speaking.
Planet or something.
Yes, that's what it gave me. I was like, wow.
Yes, that is my dream right there. If anybody, I already film dogs for a living. If somebody wants to offer me a National Geographic job where I can just like stare at meerkats or something, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I was like, I don't know why, but as soon as I heard you like through the mic, I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm gonna mention it later if there's time. But is there anything else? Can we conclude this? Yep.
I think we're ready to move into the set list.
Alrighty, so we're now ready to move into our live set. Feel free to obviously put the name of the title of the song in the beginning, and then feel free to explain the song however you'd like. Take it away.
All right, this is a little song called El Nino. It's a bit of a breakup song, but I think it defies expectations. Halvesies on a bogue, I don't think I'm so opposed to ramping as I lay your clothes. Find the way onto the hangar for the year. Tie my shoes up tight with the salt stain and the suede. It's all neighborhood games on a roundabout, so it's Saturday afternoon. It's just like the light, I am a drifter, gunfighter, cap pistol with a tired wisp of smoke drifting up from the fuse. Did you like that? Appearances start to change. I'm in a viscous state. Some foreclosed real estate on a roundabout, sort of Saturday afternoon. Operation stops, yeah, when he starts to exclaim, no longer feeling the pain. Doc forgot the wristwatch, got sewn up in haste. Halvesies on a bogue, I'm a zebra covered in spades. Another drinking game. She's the king on the tip of a can. Did you like it at all? Did you like it at all? Did you I just keep on rolling? Keep on rolling. All right, so this next song is a song called Stoop, and it's about making the transition from living in Philly for 7 years and then coming home and sitting on my staircase in my parents' house instead of sitting on a stoop in South Philly, and it was a drastic transition. Cruising like a bruiser in the sun. I can feel every inch of me. No disparate tendencies for once. Man, I feel like a sucker punch. Where'd you come from? Where you been? I've been gripping holes in my head, pulling teeth out. It's all I know how. Return me to the stoop I hold so dearly in my mind. Nothing left for city life. Sitting on the staircase and it almost feels right. Placebo to my left and to my right. Where'd you come from? Where you been? I've been gripping holes in my head, pulling hair out. It's all I know how. Watching the days slide by. Prodigal son, you have returned to your rightful spot you've earned. Right down in the basement, you are burned. Watching the days slide by. Prodigal son, you have returned to your rightful spot you've earned. Right down in the basement, you are burned. You keep calling my name. I'll catch up when I'm
Before you move on, can you adjust that mic a little bit?
Which one?
That one? Just
This one?
tilt it a little bit.
Up. All right. All right. So right now we're 2 songs into a marathon set here on the Local Lowdown. And this is actually an unreleased song called Make Me Blue. If you don't got something nice to say, well, you went and said it anyways. Moving a plant into the shade, it's already wilted and sunbaked. Something that I couldn't shake, did not expect it from someone like you. Oh, now you went and made me blue. Oh no. Oh, you went and made me blue. Oh no. Oh, you went and made me blue. Oh no. You. it's just time and place. Feather floating on the edge of a lake. Someday it sinks and dissipates. Something that I wanna shake. I expect more from someone like you. 'Cause you went and made me blue. Oh no. Oh, you went and made me blue. Oh no. Oh, you went and made me blue. Oh no. You. It's a really fun one to play. Let me see. And oh, shoot. We are at a song called Forgiveness, which is one of the singles off of my latest album, Scatter the Pieces. This is about self-growth and forgiving yourself. That's a little trite, but I think it gets the job done. You come to me in dreams, you do as you please. Oh, release me now. You wrote a poem on the breeze, priceless masterpiece. Oh, show me how you carry on these days. Words slipping away, I lost my time and place. I'm just floating. All them stupid yesterdays, I burned them in a haze of contrition. If one could remember everything, you'd have to stop and think every moment. What way is that to live? I went and burned a bridge. Let me show you how I carry on these days. I process through the pain, I try to fix my brain. Oh, forgiveness. Nothing left there but some shame, book left out in rain. Oh, dissonance. The pain and the pleasure became more. All right, and for the last little track, this is a song called I Have Cash, which the reality is I don't have cash. But at the time, maybe I did. Find someone with some bounce in their style. I'm flat-footed at best. Busted bottles still there in the yard. La 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 la. Wanna stumble, cut my hands for some change substantial. It could last. Commit a bit to the good life. Actually, do you mind if I actually just restart that one? All right, thank you. All right, I'll introduce this one again. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. You're going to be able to run both of these clips on a timeline in tandem. All right, sorry about this. This is not a live take. I Have Cash. This is a song that I wrote when I had cash. Now I don't got cash, and I wish I had cash. So this is a song called I Have Cash. Find someone with some bounce in their step. I'm flat-footed at best. Busted bottles still lay in the yard. La 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 la. Wanna stumble, cut my hands for some change substantial. It could last. Commit a bit to the good life. Would like to keep singing if I can, but the last words that I wrote were half-assed. La 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 la. To want is to have, and I can. I got cash. It's the worst thing I have addressed. To the music folks, force their struggle, I suppose. I wouldn't know. Broken bottles, better sweep that out. Broken bottles, better sweep that out. Broken bottles, better sweep that out. Broken bottles, better sweep them.
All right, welcome back. Thank you very much for that set, Jacob. That was wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about the collaborators that you work with, even on your own material. Do you want to shout anybody out real quick?
Yeah, I think like number one collaborator that I've been working with since 2014. Brandon Shillia, Steak and Cake Records, which I mentioned earlier in the interview.
Right. Also in Clump.
Yeah, also in Clump.
Shout out.
One of my other bands. So much fun to play in.
Yeah.
But Brandon Shillia has been like a key multi-instrumentalist and producer for albums like Welcome and Untitled, Unfinished, Unmastered, whatever. And he's a G. He's so talented to work with. Like, he drums, he plays bass, he's amazing with synths, guitar tones. Really, like, the album Welcome, we split duties up and just kind of attacked it together, since we both can play a lot of the same stuff.
Right.
He's just wild. But then right now, we just finished laying down another album that's going to be coming out probably early 2023. Called I'm gonna break news here.
Oh snap! Here we go. Wylie something breaking the news.
The name of this album is No Pain, No More, Forever.
Wow.
So
thank you for that.
And so, with that being said, the collaborators on that one. Brandon ended up producing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to shout out my roommates. Do you guys know the band Wild Pink?
Sounds familiar,
I think I've browsed by them in terms of like, Spotify.
Well, these guys are not only the backing band of Wild Pink. I'm so blessed that they spend time playing with Wylie something. And this is Arden Yonkers on bass.
Okay.
Daniel Keegan on the drums. And they are absolute gnarly session musicians, but then also just beasts in the studio and beasts live.
And are they playing in Buffalo too, or are they from Philly?
So these guys, Arden's from Troy, New York. Dan Keegan's from Buffalo. He lived in New York City for a stretch. Arden lived in New York City for a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
It's all like this whole full circle thing.
Gotcha.
And then we all live together in the same house.
Yeah.
And so it's a really, really cool thing to work with because everybody's so active in all these different projects.
Right, yeah.
Our basement is just an ever-changing studio setup, whether we're recording Clump, whether we're recording Rue, whether we're recording Wylie stuff. So it's just constantly changing. They're crazy, though. And then we also have Jesse Kaufman from Jesse and the Spirit. He's the second guitarist that comes in for Wylie sets. And he's also a great collaborator to work with. He's an ambient musician, etc. But he is super gnarly. And then there's also Nick Randall who plays slide guitar, and so that's going to be a thing that's
I like
coming in.
That's cool, yeah.
Because there's a bit of like a country influence on No Pain, No More Forever.
Sweet. I saw you doing that. It wasn't Willie Nelson cover. What
yes,
was
it's Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, Waylon Jennings, right?
Yeah, Lukenbach, Texas.
Yeah, that's a great song. I checked it out afterwards.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like there's just a ton of collaborators, and I also got to mention people like Cam Plotner, who's the drummer in Clump, but it's just like a great person to bounce ideas off of and stuff. And also Matthew Danger Littman has contributed guitar solos for a bunch of stuff, and also is just an incredible person to bounce those ideas off of, like whenever you need them. So it's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that you're living in such a creative environment. We got a little peek into that. That was awesome.
I mean, you just mentioned something so groundbreaking. But I mean, but going along with like the release up for 2023, is there anything at least happening for the end of this year that either you want to mention?
Plotting.
Ooh. So one of the things that I have wanted to do for a while is an EP with 5 different drummers.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of friends who drum, and I love them all individually in their own unique little special snowflake ways.
Aww.
And so I have a bit of a lineup where I've kind of written songs that are catering more to like the drum styles of some people rather than others. So like Brandon Shilley is playing drums on a track, Cam's playing drums on a track, Dan Keegan's playing drums on a track, my friend Yurik's playing drums on a track, my friend Mark Lynch out of Philly is playing drums on a track, and then it's going to be a project called Love Struck and Dumb.
Nice. And that's like a this year.
That's a this year.
I don't know why I envisioned like 5 drummers playing at the same time. And that
on
was
every song.
Yes.
I was like,
and they're all unique ways.
There's a single drummer on the kick. There's a drummer.
Yes.
And
it's like the complete opposite of a one-man band.
I know.
It takes 5 people to operate one drum.
It's like, I'm interested to see that. But regardless, I think that, I mean, has something like that ever happened? Or like, did you take inspiration from
concept,
some?
No, I just love all the drummers in my life.
That's so cute, though.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, when would that, or like at least a time frame? Do you know
next couple months, there's going to be a single that is going to drop. Make Me Blue. The song I just played today is actually it's done.
Oh my god,
it's great to hear.
So it's going to hit Spotify in probably like a month or 2.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, you might like all the drummers in your life. I quite like all the merchandise in my life.
They're going to talk about your friends. But you know,
I love my friends too, but little merch gremlin's been itching to talk about merch.
Ooh.
Well, let me tell you, Usually when I get into the booth here and I'm like, okay, it's time to talk about merch. I'm always going to like the physical media, but you got that on lockdown. You got some tapes out, you got some CDs going. I'm pleasantly surprised.
He's a 10 out of 10.
I'm saying 10 out of 10.
Okay, so I got a couple of things in the merch department. You can head over to Zazen Tapes. There are only 8 tapes remaining out of the entire
7.
run. Hell
7.
6.
Yeah, but yeah, Zazen Tapes, amazing little label. We only did a run of 40 tapes altogether. We're down to 8 tapes. They're available online. My copies are gone. But then hopefully in the next couple months, my mom used to run an embroidery business. There's going to be some Wylie something crew necks.
I just learned how to embroider.
Oh, sweet.
Oh
Yeah. That's exciting.
A little smiley face with a halo.
Nice.
Oh my. Okay. When was that?
That's going to be in the next couple months.
Okay, I'll wait. I'm patient.
Mel's getting all the dates tonight.
But yeah, pretty much, if you're listening and you dug what you heard, head on over to zazentapes.bandcamp.com.
Will do. Now you have, what'd you say, 6 tapes on file. Is that, Mr. Gremlin?
Mr. Gremlin, anything else?
Well, I can confirm. You said there were 8 tapes left?
Yes.
Well, now there's 7.
I just told you that there were 6.
This is amazing.
Right in the middle of the episode, I was like, you know what?
This is a blowout.
Gotta
Right now, if you
Gotta
call
get
this
up on
number,
this.
you'll get one right
everyone in the
I
description to
They're
buy one.
$5. They're $5.
I wish we were
awesome.
live.
plus $4 shipping. It's a deal. It's a deal. But I just want to, I'm a little curious. Any plans for any apparel? Besides the embroidery. Any T-shirts coming?
I've been I had a
T-shirt
band back in college called Local Onlys, and I did 150 T-shirts, and I still have around 50 of these T-shirts left.
Wow.
Wow.
And I made the mistake of printing them all at once.
Yeah.
And so I've just had this overstock box, and they're sick T-shirts.
Wait, when was this though? When you had your band? How many years ago?
This was back in 2013.
Vintage shirts. They're
2013,
$50
2014.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I stay away from the T-shirts a little bit. I want to just go for some vintage, go picking savers, AMVETs, and then just embroider up a logo on some basic stuff, and we'll see where we go from there.
I also just wanted to mention, personally, I think it would look really, really nice. Genuine Moments.
Oh boy.
Vinyl jacket, tan record, tan vinyl wax.
Ooh, you're
Just to put it in your mind, because I did notice there was no physical media for this.
No, that was all digital.
It could be all analog.
Yo, also, if there are any tape labels or little labels that are listening, you want to do a reissue of a Wylie project, just hit me up.
Hello.
This wouldn't be the first time something like this happened on this show.
It has happened before.
Yeah.
Okay, Merch Gremlin is satisfied.
You've been
Yes, I have added to my gold hoard of the band merchandise. I'm pleased.
all right.
Okay.
Sweet.
This episode was a success.
Nice. All right, and that concludes another episode of The Local Lowdown. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Jake. We had an absolute blast.
Thank you.
And it was a pleasure having you and learning more about your process.
Thank you.
And what is to come for you. And who do we have next week, Jordan?
Next week we have Auto Ignition. Very excited.
Yeah.
We'll be learning more all about Liam and his process next week.
Nice.
Thanks for tuning in to the Local Lowdown on 88.9 WCVF The Voice and 89.5 WDVL The Inferno. It's been another great week here with Jacob. Thank you for being here. And we'll be back next week. Same time,
same place. Bye.